What do you think linear stands for?
Straight.
Diagonal line.
No, I know this one.
Line. We're talking about lines. Okay? This is on page 1. Okay? So this entire chapter, we are talking about on a graph, it makes a line. Okay? The first thing, you didn't get it in right. The first thing we're going to do is talk about, okay, if we have an equation, how do we get the line? So we are going to, today and tomorrow, fill in an XY table so that we can graph our line. Okay? Yes. So, in number 1, our equation is y equals x plus 6. We know it's going to be a line, but we just don't know what that's going to look like. Okay? So, I have some x values we're going to plug in. So, y equals x plus 6, but what we're going to do is we're going to erase x and we're going to substitute -1 in. This is another calculator-friendly chapter, just so you know. What is -1 plus 6? 5. Okay, so what we can do is we can plot that point. Remember, x means we're going left or right. Y means we're moving up or down. Okay, so I'm going to go left 1 and up 5 to plot that coordinate. Okay. Now, let's do the same thing with 0. Y equals x plus 6, but I'm going to erase x and it becomes 0. What is 0 plus 6? Okay. So our coordinate is 0, 6. That means we move left or right 0 and up 6. Y equals x plus 6, but now we're going to replace x with 2. What is 2 plus 6? Okay. To plot that point, we're going to go right 2 and up 8. What happens when we plug in 4 for x? We get 10. Okay, now, can we fit 410 on the graph that we have? No, so that's kind of a bummer, okay? What I would highly suggest, okay, well, if it doesn't fit, it's okay. We're going to eventually get to some problems where we have to pick our own x values to plug in. 4 was not a good choice because we can't fit it on the graph. Okay, so we'll kind of come back to that later. But now we know that these 4 points make a line. So I need you to connect them with a line and put the arrow at both ends, signifying, hey, this line goes on forever. Okay, that is it. Okay, so you need to be able to do 2 things. You need to be able to plug in a number. Okay? You also need to be able to plot points. That's it. Okay? All right, now let's look at number 3. Okay? What is in between the -4 and the x? Multiplication. Okay? Notice how this was x plus 6. This is -4 times x, okay? So with all of our x's, we are going to multiply by -4. So we have y equals negative 4x. I'm going to erase the x and replace it with a negative 2. But notice how I used the parentheses. What's 4 times negative 2? Sorry, negative 4 times negative 2. 8. At any time, if you think you need a calculator, you go get one. Okay? So this coordinate, we're going to go left 2 and up 8. Okay. Maybe you're really understanding this and you don't need to show your work. That's fine. But I'm going to write it over here. We have negative 4x. Instead of x, though, we're going to put in a negative 1. So what's negative 4 times negative 1? 4. Not everybody all at once. So we have left 1 and up 4. Okay. What happens when we plug in 0? What's 4 times x? Yeah. What happens when we plug in 2? What's 4 times 2? Oh, I forgot my negative. Thank you for keeping me on track. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. So we have right 2 and down 8. Okay. If your 3 or 4 or 5 coordinates, however many we have, if your coordinates don't form a line, you did something wrong. So if one of them is not lining up with the rest, you need to go back and look at that, because I am telling you, every single one of these will form a line. Okay? All right, how about you take a moment and you find me the y coordinates for number 5. And if you want to work with your elbow partner, you go for it. If you need a calculator, you know where they are. Negative 3 times x plus 5. Lyndon, are you finding the numbers? Dude, right here.
I'm thinking.
When we take, negative 3 times negative 1 and then add 5, what are we going to get? Oh, yeah? What's negative 3 times negative 1? What's negative 3 times negative 1? 3 plus 5. 8. We're on number 5. Negative 3 times negative 1 plus 5. What happens when we take negative 3 times positive 1 plus plus 5. What are we going to get there? Yes, we're going to get 2. Okay. What happens when we take negative 3 times 3 plus 5? What's negative 3 times 3? Negative 9 plus 5 is negative 4. What about negative 3 times 4 plus 5? Okay. Negative 3 times 4 gets us negative 12. Plus 5 would be negative 7. Okay. Oh, hey. Look at these coordinates making a line. That's what we like to see. Okay. Now we're going to do one more together and then call it good. And I want to do number 7. What does this mean? Okay, and what does that fraction bar mean? Divide. So this is like x divided by 2 plus 7. All right, well, what's negative 8 divided by 2? Negative 4, right? Plus 7 equals 3. X divided by 2 plus 7. If x is negative 6, negative 6 divided by 2 means you guys, I can do all these problems myself, but I'm asking you to help me. What is negative 6 divided by 2? What's negative 6 divided by 2? Negative 3 plus 7 is 4. If I plug in negative 2 for x, and I have negative 2 divided by 2 plus 7, what's our y value going to be for that one? 6. Okay. And 0 is my favorite number to plug in. Okay. 0 divided by 2 plus 7 is going to give us 7. Okay. Do you notice how some of our lines slope up and some of our lines fall? Okay. That's something that we're going to look more at on Wednesday. Okay. But for now,